Lou, I want to give this to you because you could give us insight. Again, don't tell us anything that can get you into trouble. But there was a blockbuster acquisition this week announced at the Electronic Entertainment Exposition, of all places, between Microsoft and LinkedIn. Take it away.
Absolutely, yeah. All public information here. So basically, marked as one of the largest acquisitions for the internet in a long time. It was announced this week that Microsoft's looking to acquire LinkedIn at $26 billion, which is about $196 per share, bringing in about 50% premium on the LinkedIn price closing last Friday. So that's kind of interesting. LinkedIn went public in 2011, where its stock doubled the first day of trading, where it was the biggest internet IPO since Google in 2004. Recently, though, in 2015, the shares kind of peaked and then it kind of went on the downfall. So that's kind of something interesting about LinkedIn. Other interesting facts is it reported that LinkedIn has over 433 million members, 128 million members US alone, and it holds a presence over 200 countries. It rakes in about $3 billion in revenue each year. About 2/3 of that revenue comes from its talent acquisition or solutions division, which actually helps corporate recruiters bring in new candidates. I think it's $550 million just in this quarter alone for revenue. Its marketing division generally generates about $140 million in revenue, while its premium subscriptions are about $138 million. And last year it reported that it has about 40,000 enterprise contracts. So that's actually pretty large for talent acquisition. In 2015, LinkedIn actually acquired lynda.com for $1.5 billion. As you guys know, lynda.com is a vast network of learning and training online, and it draws about $41 million in annual revenue for just LinkedIn. So that's actually pretty good from a training aspect. They hold a massive mobile presence. About 55% of all their users are actually transitioned to using mobile. I'm sure that's probably higher now. But kind of let's go talk into the deal now. So some of the deal parts. Obviously, some of the past deals that Microsoft has had is, remember Skype back in 2011, they had an $8.5 billion deal. Nokia, their mobile division, they did a $9.4 billion deal in 2013. And then everyone remembers Mahjong, the Minecraft developer, for $2.5 billion in 2014. But as this part of this $26 billion deal, LinkedIn will retain its brand and independence, but maintain a shared sense of alignment on the different things that the two companies can do. And Jeff Weiner, the CEO of LinkedIn, will actually remain reporting to Nadella, which is the Microsoft CEO. But there's an interesting intersection here, and this comes at a very simple level as part of the company's mission statements. I think it's kind of funny, is Microsoft's mission statement is to empower people and organizations around the world to achieve more, which is a very general statement, but it means, bringing people together and finding a way to make them more productive. But LinkedIn's mission statement is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. So the key phrases are really empowering and achieving more through productivity and success by connection. So I think that kind of brings us to a very interesting discussion. There are a bunch of skeptics out there about the deal, where we know right now Microsoft has about 1.2 billion Office users. And if you combine that with the data of the 433 million users in LinkedIn, you get this very autonomous social graph that's almost amplifies its effectiveness. So I want to throw it over to you guys and think, what do you think the value in this deal is? Is it the social network part of it, or is it to kind of bring in that social graph of data?
And this is actually a really good question, because honestly, LinkedIn has been one of those companies that has been puzzling to me, because they're social, but they're not social like we think of social. They are incredibly well used by large enterprises. It is a first step of contact for most people who are working in any industry. So in that sense, LinkedIn it's got a great brand. It's definitely got a profit center behind it. And yet it's always been one of those things where when I have been looking at their business model, I'm like, I don't really know how this works in with what Microsoft is doing. Some of the articles that I've read since the announcement of this deal seem to suggest that something like CRM could benefit from some of LinkedIn's processes, which, okay, that's great. I don't know if that's $26 billion great. And then, as you mentioned, there's been some other blockbuster deals. There's almost $10 billion for Skype, which was rocky at first, but I think that's turned out well. I think that's really helped Microsoft in their unified communications efforts. There was the deal for Nokia, which we shall not utter anymore. It's become Voldemort at Microsoft. And then there was Mojang. And Mojang was actually a fantastic deal for Microsoft. I mean, I just came back from E3, and that has been a huge boom to their gaming division. So for me, I can see where they can extract value from LinkedIn. I think the price is a little bit high. I think that price is high because Salesforce was also shopping for LinkedIn, but I can't really identify the super unique value that LinkedIn brings to Microsoft. What about you, Curtis?
Well, I think that there are some pieces of this that start to make sense. And one of them is that CRM piece. I mean, there's no question that Salesforce has been a huge presence. And one of the things that's important about Salesforce is the extent to which it is a platform. It's not just a CRM package like SAP or like Oracle or like Microsoft's back-end packages. It's a platform that people use to build custom applications for their business. So I think that it is entirely possible that one of the things that Microsoft sees in LinkedIn is the platform capability. You see a lot of add-ins for LinkedIn. I think that there are some good opportunities there to extend those with different Microsoft products. And I think there's also a really good mobile play here, not only because of the mobile users that are currently in LinkedIn, but again, because of that mobile platform. How do you get people to continue using the basic productivity suite and all of the products when they leave their laptop, their desktop, now their convertible computers, and go to a mobile platform? LinkedIn provides some answers for that. So I think that it is entirely likely that those are the places that Microsoft was seeing value that justified the kind of price that they paid for LinkedIn. I've seen a lot of comment, both pro and con, on this for the past few days. I tend to remain, we'll call it cautiously optimistic. I think that it doesn't do Microsoft any good to mess up here. And it behooves them to really pay attention to both the culture that exists in LinkedIn users and the way that they are using that platform. So I'm optimistic that some interesting things are going to come out of this, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Microsoft is going to deal with some of the less out in front pieces of LinkedIn. Many people have forgotten that LinkedIn owns lynda.com, so there's a ton of training now out there that falls under the Microsoft tent. Lots to keep an eye on in the coming months around this particular acquisition.
Yeah, Lou, I remember hearing once someone telling me that Twitter was for posting your fake selfies, Facebook is for linking up with fake friends, and LinkedIn is for making yourself look like a fake professional. But there is, as Curtis mentioned, there is sort of this thing that you get when you buy LinkedIn, that it is the professionals' playground. It's for people to either enrich themselves via lynda.com, to connect with one another so that you know who your network is and who you can reach out to. But perhaps we can ask a different question to figure out what it is exactly that Microsoft wants. Because you are with CRM at Microsoft, let's not talk about that so that you can speculate. Let's talk about Salesforce. Salesforce was going after LinkedIn as well, and Salesforce is CRM. What was it that Salesforce saw in LinkedIn that they desperately wanted?
I think it's partially, I mean, I wonder where Yammer's kind of in that space. Are they fake business people? I don't know. Everyone remembers that, Microsoft acquired Yammer. That was their first kind of jet into social networking. And now to me, this is kind of their first jet take into like the consumer social networking. But to me, they have a lot more value than kind of think of that, like you said, the need for people that have the need for Twitter. What is it value for businesses and so on and consumers, and what Facebook's value for businesses and consumers are. And then you think about LinkedIn and you think, okay, well, people go to LinkedIn to do particular things, like you said, find, acquire new jobs, do recruiting, do other things, learn about other people, have businesses learn about your past history, that kind of thing. I think that's part of the value. I think that's where Salesforce or Microsoft might look into the value and say, okay, we can link up to this data, because CRM is all about customers and contacts, leads, and then opportunities and acquisitions. And so, bringing in and fortifying that data, supplementing that data with data around a social graph surrounding professionals and their history and their, what are they doing now kind of thing, becomes very valuable. There's a lot of companies out there that provide insights around your contacts, but this is coming directly from the customer, from the user perspective generally, and it becomes more valuable in that sense because again, when you mine it, you can mine it from different directions. You can mine it from the corporation side, and you can mine it from the user side. And so that's where the value comes in. And so I think the supplementing things on that side, and that goes with really anything that LinkedIn has. You can supplement pretty much any industry if you think about it, whether it's sales or acquiring things, or just finding new people, or even ads. Because again, remember, they have a ad feed system just like Facebook. They can provide, what are professionals looking at? I'm a computer science engineer. I'm looking at particular feed items in the feed, and what ads am I clicking on, and then providing that insight along with the talent information. I think that there's quite a bit of value there, I think, from any CRM system.